Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the prelim fights for UFC Fight Night, Hall versus Silva. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card and our first fight on the prelim. So in our first fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Miles Johns versus Kevin Natividad. So look at this one right here. Kevin Natividad is a pretty well-rounded fighter, solid striker. But this one, I feel like Miles Johns is just overall the better fighter between the two. I feel like he's fought better competition, beat better competition. And I'm not really too high on the competition level that Natividad has beat. But what I see is that Natividad is the better striker in my opinion. But I feel like Johns pushes a higher pace and is a better wrestler. Or is the wrestler in this one. I feel like really it's going to come down to the takedowns. It's going to be a huge fact. The pressure and the pace of Johns. So the takedowns, especially his pace, his volume, but especially that takedown, but all that combined, it was going to lean the fight to Natividad. Lean the fight to Johns, not Natividad. But yeah, I feel like Johns going to be pressuring, landing strikes, throwing volume, going for takedowns, securing takedowns, working nonstop. And that's just a thing about Johns. He's a workman. He'll work out there, be nonstop, be in your face, and it's hard to deal with, especially at this level, kind of the division. Like not when you're like you get further in the division, you kind of see people get more answers to fighters like that, but lower down, like people really don't have much of an answer to it or response to that. So I feel like Natividad is the better striker, but outside that, Johns has all the edge. And so in the volume, in the wrestling, pace, cardio, well, really more so pace. I don't know if he has necessarily had the better cardio. I think cardio is necessarily a lean towards him, but yeah, it's kind of even there. But as far as pace, volume, and wrestling, I can give that all to Johns, and I think that's what, and also level of competition. So what I see in this fight is like I said, Johns pushing the pace and carrying takedowns. Keep the fight kind of close on the striking, but like I said, putting up the volume on the striking, then mixing the takedowns, and beating Natividad to a decision. So in this fight, I have Miles Johns via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's flyweight division, Courtney Casey versus Priscilla Cachoeira. So looking at this one right here, Casey's record is horrendous, 9-8 versus Cachoeira, who's 9-3. But don't let records confuse you. Courtney Casey is the overall better fighter and has shown to be the overall better fighter in her career. Now, I don't mean that Cachoeira can't win this one. It's a fight and anyone can win at all times. Never forget that. But how I see this fight is that Cachoeira is really just a one-dimensional fighter for me from what I've seen. She's a striker. Hasn't looked the best off her back. I don't think she's ever seen her take anyone down. She's really a slow, plodding striker. That's all she is, or all I've seen from her. And versus Courtney Casey, who's a much more fluid striker. Much faster, much sharper. Not necessarily going to say she has much more power, but definitely both have power between the two. But Courtney Casey is much sharper, much more technical, more volume, more technique, more clean, and more sharper with her strikes. And also, I think she has a grappling edge as well. You know, Courtney Casey's takedown defense is horrendous. I don't think Cachoeira is going to take her down. And I think if she takes her down, she might get submitted. So she really probably going to keep this fight on the feet and make it a striking matchup. And I think on the feet, Courtney, like I said, Courtney Casey's faster, more fluid. And overall, is flat out just the better striker between her and Cachoeira. So I see it's a striking matchup. I just see Casey outstriking Cachoeira, who's really just going to be a striker in this one. And maybe even mix in a takedown or a clinch or two just to, add another element to the fight. But all around, I just think at this point, Courtney Casey is just a better fighter all around, and she's going to improve that in this one. So in this fight, also, let me before I say Cachoeira is a tank, so I don't think she'll get put out or stopped. But I do see her getting thoroughly outpointed by Casey in this one. So in this fight, I have Courtney Casey via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the light heavyweight division, Dustin Jacoby versus Justin Ledet. So looking at this one right here, Ledet versus Jacoby. So let me look at Ledet first. Ledet actually looked like a decent heavyweight prospect for a while. I think he was 3-0 at heavyweight. And then for that reason, he thought he could cut more weight. So he did, and he went down to 205. Now he's 0-3 at light heavyweight. So this is definitely not looking like the best move of Ledet's career. He probably should move back up. And now going against Jacoby, I just see like it's another loss for him for real. I think he has some slick boxing. He has some decent jiu-jitsu, but not the best takedown offense. And not the most well-rounded striking game. More so just a boxing. He does have some kicks here and there, but when you really look at him, he's just, for the most part, a boxer. Now you're going against Justin Jacoby, who's a kickboxer, who could definitely pressure and definitely has the power, definitely has the kicks, and can chew that lead leg of a Ledet, chew the body of a Ledet. Put that volume on it. We saw Ledet lose his fight, like in his last fight. He lost the fight purely off volume. he was a more technical, cleaner fighter, but his opponent literally, this basically just outworked him. So I just see Jacoby kind of doing the same, but to a little bit higher degree with less wrestling. See Jacoby trim the lead leg, trim the body, pressuring, bully him inside against the cage. But I see Ledet being tough in a roll with some punches, take the damage, and make it a decision. Like, Ledet's a very tough fighter. I saw him getting finished. He knows how to roll with shots and not take them fully. But I see, like I said, Jacoby just like trim the leg and then crashing into him and landing volume and heavy shots against the cage. But Ledet does have sneak potential in this one, but really it's going to lead to Jacoby for being the more well-rounded, more experienced fighter and having the tools to take away Ledet's tools without Ledet really having the tools to take Jacoby's tools. Really, the only thing I say Ledet could do is basically wait for Jacoby to open up on a striking too much and find like a short counter, catch him, and maybe put his lights out. But outside of that, Jacoby just almost one-way traffic in this one. So in this fight, I have Dustin Jacoby via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the welterweight division, Jason Witt versus Cole Williams. So look at the one right here. I see two guys that are kind of similar, but as looking into them, Jason Witt seems the better fighter of the two. Only thing I would say Williams is better at or has better is that he's 2 inches taller. The 5'10" Witt versus the 6 feet tall Cole Williams. Jason Witt has better competition, more experience, more fights. On his feet, I think he's a more technical striker, higher value. I think he's a better grappler as well. Fights at a higher pace. Also, I say he's a younger fighter. He's 32 and Williams is 36. And Williams fight, like, he kind of styles kind of slow. They both fight like they sparring almost, like kind of slow and telegraph, or at least telegraph in a way. Witt, like he has fluidity with his strikes. With Williams, for the most part, doesn't like he had that fluidity there. Like a lot of stuff just looks slow and like not really fully committed to it. Kind of walks flat-footed, throws a jab, kind of waits for uppercuts and like stuff. Everything does look kind of rudimentary and slow, and whereas at least Witt look like he has some fluidity, but like he's sparring like you give your opponent the chance to block. Well, I don't know. Both guys don't look like they're exactly UFC caliber, but I think Witt can pressure him, be in his face, throw out volume, bully him in the clinch, got a good, decent Muay Thai clinch, could, like I said, pressure him, put him at fight a pace that Williams can't keep up with, start to break him down with his pace, and then get on the inside, landing knees in the clinch, knees to the face, and wearing Williams down, drag him to the ground, and submitting him in that second round. So in this fight, I have Jason Witt via second round submission. Now to our next fight we have in the middleweight division, Sean Strickland versus Jack Marshman. And look at this one right here. Jack Marshman, really just a one-dimensional fighter. Sean Strickland's more of a well-rounded fighter, but it's not like he's the most well-rounded fighter either, but definitely a more well-rounded fighter than Jack Marshman. And this is really good. I think he outstrike Marshman. I think he didn't get mixing takedowns. I think he really get to do whatever he wants in this fight. I think he does in this fight. I think he, being the fighter comes from welterweight division, I think he uses his speed, uses his reflex, uses his tactical advantages, beats him to punch, outstrikes him by a decent margin. Then I think he mixes in the takedowns and control time of the ground. And like I said, this outstrikes him on the feet, mixing in takedowns, and really kind of just close to a decision. Like, he's going to try to get a finish, but I don't think he gets a finish in this one. But really a clear, clean-cut decision. I don't think Marshman gets any rounds. I think Sean Strickland just beats him everywhere, beats him on the feet and beat him on the ground. And pretty clean, clear-cut fight. So in this fight, I have Sean Strickland via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the bantamweight division, Adrian Yanez versus Victor Rodriguez. So in this one, I'm going to say straight up, I have not seen really anything from Victor Rodriguez. Can't really find much tape or any tape on Victor Rodriguez. A lot of them from like 7 years ago. But from looking at his resume, I'm not impressed at all. And I'm going to say he's getting knocked out. That's just straight up. He's getting knocked out. He went on like a 2-fight losing streak. I think both of them were, at least one of them was a stoppage where he got a stoppage loss. And I think now he's like on 3-fight stoppage victory streak or something like that. But one guy like 1-2, the other guy like, 0-2, another guy like 1-2, and then 4 guys like 8-1 and who's can correction. So his level of competition is beyond mediocre. And he was losing to that level of competition. Well, he was losing to competition he beat, but like only a little bit better competition than he been beating. So he went on hiatus, he came back and can correction. Now he got a title fight. I mean, not title fight, but a UFC contract, or at least a temporary UFC contract. By the way, I'm just not impressed by his resume. Not impressed by who he beat. Not impressed how he beat him. I think Yanez is just a cleaner fighter all around, and he's going to put on a boxing clinic and knock him out in the first round. So in this fight, I have Adrian Yanez via first round TKO. Now to our prelim headliner, we have in the lightweight division, not the light heavyweight, but the lightweight division. Alexander Hernandez versus Chris Gruetzemacher. So look at this one right here. I don't think Chris Gruetzemacher really presents any real threats to Hernandez. He has a decent ground game, but Hernandez has solid takedown defense. He's a bigger, younger fighter. And his grappling not really where his issue is like his grappling isn't his issue right now. He has some striking flaws, so if he goes against a fighter who can defend his takedown and can outstrike him, that's an issue. But a guy who just wants to take him down and who doesn't really have the best striking or like almost a punching bag on the feet, I think that's a tailor-made fight for him. So I think Hernandez could stuff to take down Gruetzemacher. I think he could take down Gruetzemacher and will take down Gruetzemacher. On the feet, Gruetzemacher might slightly be. Matter of fact, I'm gonna say Hernandez is a more technical fighter on feet than Gruetzemacher, but I'm not. What I'm really saying is that Hernandez is not the most technical striker himself, but I will say he's more technical than Gruetzemacher. And then with his youth and his output and his pace, and his explosiveness being in that youth, and athleticism, etc., that's gonna allow him to have a real big edge in the striking. So I feel like he can just beat Gruetzemacher to the punch often, and early and often throughout this one. Beat him to kick, throw some teeps, throw some kicks, use his footwork if he needs to. Matter of fact, I don't really think he needs to really move against Gruetzemacher, but he'll probably move anyway, just to like make it harder for Gruetzemacher to even attempt a shot and really pick apart him kind of from that almost outside middle range. Not the far outside range, but like the middle outside range. So like he could be in there to land big shots, but also not be there to get hit with with any counters or any big shots from Gruetzemacher. If Gruetzemacher even has a big punch in him, like I said, just mixing takedowns, beat him from that middle outside range, like not fully on the outside, but like right on the middle part right there. Hit, avoid, and really pick apart Gruetzemacher. I don't think he stops Gruetzemacher, but I think it's a pretty clear fight where Hernandez wins every round clear. Mixing the takedowns and outstriking Gruetzemacher from like mid-range and not really allowing Gruetzemacher to really have any real output in this one, no real success in this one, and beat him to a clear-cut decision. So in this fight, I have Alexander Hernandez via decision. So that concludes my fight predictions for the prelims of UFC Fight Night, Hall versus Silva. And as always, thanks for watching.